Good morning, Supriya. How are you?
Yeah, good morning. Hi, I'm good. How are
Okay.
you?
Yeah, I'm good too. Thank you. Okay. So can you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah, I'm having total 3 years of experience in the field of testing. My skill sets are manual and automation, but like I'm more to manual only, but I'm learning automation and trying to implement the things and so that I can get opportunity to work in an automation. So like I'm more to functional, but not that much in automation, but I'm trying my best.
Mhm.
And
Great.
yeah.
Okay. So currently you are working more of the in a functional testing project, you mean to say,
Yes,
not
yes,
at the
yes.
automation side.
No,
Okay.
it's very less. But so I'm trying my best, even though like in my free time, I will be doing my automation only. I'm trying to implement to get to more and all knowledge I'm gathering and all. So yeah.
Mhm. Okay, no issues. Okay. So what do you mean by extent reports?
Extent report. It is a
Mhm.
kind of a report which is a like advanced customized report
Mhm.
that will give extent report. It is a like we it is a third party tool kind of thing. We can download the jar files and we can have that in Selenium. And it is a like customized, very creative kind of reports which gives us information about like whether the scripts are failures, pass, or anything we have to log a like it says to print something in the defect. It's like something kind of thing report.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you are very right. It's an open source reporting library that
Yeah.
can be used in Selenium test automation. As of now, the Selenium has got a few of the inbuilt reports using frameworks like JUnit is there, TestNG is there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But extent reports become the first choice of the automation testers because those are one kind of advanced level, or you can say
Yes.
they give an extensive insight to the test results. That is why we are using them. Okay, what are the advantages of going for extent reports?
One is that it is like more that is like it will be very creative and it give informations.
Mhm.
I don't know about that much of external report because just I started with external reports, so that much I don't know about it.
Okay, okay, no issues. So first of all, the good advantage is that they are more customizable than the
Yeah.
others, right?
Yes.
Then they provide a kind of a dashboard view. Okay, that kind of dashboard view is that how many results have passed, those can be displayed in green color. How many have failed, those can be displayed in red color.
In red color.
Then
Yeah.
it also displays the time taken for the test case execution, which is very essential. You can also add screen capturing of screenshots at every test
Yes.
step,
Yes.
and graphical views are there. And they can be easily integrated with the frameworks like JUnit is there, TestNG is there, or NUnit is there. So these are the basic advantages of
Advantage.
extent reports. Okay. So what do you mean by POM and what does it contain?
Form basically is a page object model. It's a
Mhm.
design technique where like it separates our test cases and page object. So basically we can have whatever we are want to locate in the UI so that it can separate our test cases. Suppose if tomorrow if our UI got changed, so we won't it won't affect our test case easily. We can manage it. Like it's basically a design technique which is differentiating our like separating our test cases and page object, like
Mhm.
where we will defining all our locators and all. If tomorrow UI got changed, so we easily can go to that page and we can change itself, like change in that page. No need to touch our test scripts or all. So it is basically design pattern which is managing our test scripts and page objects, objectives.
Okay. So when you get a question in an interview, you know, what do you mean by POM? So it can also be related to the POM.xml and that
Yeah, yeah,
we are using in Maven. Okay.
yes, yes,
So
Maven.
basically POM.xml is nothing but it is project object model and it's an XML
Yeah,
file. It contains all the
all the dependencies and related to projects with configure
absolutely.
and all.
Yeah. So that is there. So it contains various details like plugins is there, dependencies is
Yeah,
there, whichever goals are there, profiles, versions, and all those lists are there. Okay.
yes, yes.
So whenever we are performing Maven tasks, then the POM file that is residing in your directory that is searched and it will help you to collect all the information required on the project. Okay. So that is POM.xml within the Maven. Then comes page object model. It's altogether a different framework. We'll come to
Yes.
that question as
Yeah.
well in the
Yeah.
very soon. Okay. Now, what do you mean by snapshots? Have you seen snapshots getting created?
Yeah,
Right? So,
yeah,
what
yeah.
are those
We
snapshots?
have snapshots. Basically, we will be using in our scripts so that if tomorrow, if suppose if our any of the test cases got failed, so there those are like check-in points and validation points, like where our scripts got failed. So we have the methods in the Selenium, like the methods which are used as take screenshot as and file screenshot as methods are used to take the screenshot of UI.
Mhm. Right. So Maven snapshot is that version which is currently unreleased, right? So prior to the first release is completed, there is 1.0 snapshot version that will be created. So in the future, this current 1.0 version would get emerged into the present development copy. Okay. So that is what snapshot is called. Okay. Why do we use build perform in Selenium? Have you ever used such kind of methods, build perform?
Yeah, actions class we used because of like suppose it's like many of the things like Selenium can't do so that to have interaction with our mouse keys to the UI element, so we'll be using build and perform. So action class are used for this, for like double click, right click, and move to element like mouse and all. So we will be doing.
Right, right. This is a perfect answer. We are having this build and perform methods which are used to compile and execute the actions class like click, mouse click is there. Okay, what is overloading and overriding?
Okay. Overloading means if a class having more than one method with same name, same signatures, but there should be differentiate. We can differentiate between the parameters, like how the parameters we are passing, like what are the sequence, what are the different parameters we are passing. Sorry. So this is called overloading. When a class contains more than one method, but having same names but different in the parameters sequence. It can be the sequence or the difference in the how many parameters we are passing, data types and all. And overriding means if a child class having a method which is already present in the parent class,
Mhm.
which is having same name, same signatures and all, then it is called overriding. And we doesn't want we doesn't want to execute the existing functionality, then it's called overriding.
Overriding, right. So overloading means when two or more methods in the same class
Yeah,
have the same name but different parameters, as you
parameters.
mentioned it, that is called overloading. But when the method signature, that is the name and parameters are the same in the superclass, the child class,
Yeah,
it is called overriding.
overriding.
Okay. Now, what is the difference between collection and collections?
Collections.
Mhm.
In Selenium, I know about collection that we are having different type of collections are there, like list, list set. Those are like interfaces, and we can an array list is the implementation of list, and a hash set and presets are implementation of set.
Mhm.
So these are the collections I know. That other
Right,
part.
right. So you were very right, going into the right direction. Collection is an interface, one kind of interface that is present in the Java util package.
Yeah.
Okay. Then list is there, set is there, queue. Those are the main sub interfaces of the collection interface. Okay.
Yes.
These collection, basically, it is used to represent a group of individual objects as a single unit. It is similar to kind of having a container in C++ language. That is why we have this collection. Okay. But for collections, again, it is a kind of a utility class. It is actually a utility class which would be present in the Java util package. And collections will have various methods, utility methods like sorting is there, searching is there. So it has all kind of static methods like that. Okay. Now, which methodology do you follow?
We follow Agile in our project.
Okay. So you will be having some story and you will be sizing that story. You will be calculating
Yes,
the
yes.
story points. Okay. So on what basis do you calculate the story points?
Basically, we will calculating the story point upon the complexity of that user story that we are assigned. One, like how much time it will take and all. So depend upon the complexity. If it's basically we will be defining our story points based on the complexity, like how much time it will take to execute, and so if it's a thorough testing, regression testing, or a
Mhm.
kind of a sanity testing, so like that way we will be deciding our story.
Right, right. Okay, so we would be calculating the story points. Let's say if you have already in a team, you have worked on some story and you have delivered it. So you can use that
Yeah.
particular first story as a benchmark. Okay, then you can compare the stories as well. Then you can determine what is the implementation, what is the effort, how much timeline it would take. So those are the various things. And then, as you mentioned, it is also taken, the decision is also taken on the basis of complexity of the very first story. Okay, so that is there. Okay, so this is fine. Agile thing, calculating story points. Moving to next question. So before we move to the next question, your headphones are fine, right? You have any?
Yeah.
If you want, you can remove them, or you can use only one side of headphones if it is, creating a problem for your ears. Okay,
No, it's okay.
it's fine. Okay, great. Okay, so what is sprint backlog in Agile?
Sprint backlog. Suppose if the user stories we have taken the current sprint and developer and testers were not able to complete those user stories at a time, then those story points will go to backlog. That story points means user stories will go to the next sprint.
Mhm.
The specified the user stories we have the promise to complete this sprint. If we're not able to achieve those goals, then we will have this in the next sprint. So this is called sprint backlog.
Right, it's fine. What is object repository in Selenium?
Object, as I told, its object repository is kind of a design pattern technique where we will be storing all our objects, locators, and all we will be defining there. So this is called object.
Right. So you will be storing all your element locator values at some particular centralized location instead of hard coding them into the test scripts, right? And sometimes you can also create a property file, dot properties, to store all the element locators, and these property files act as a object repository in the Selenium WebDriver. Now, can you tell us some of the scenarios which cannot be automated using Selenium?
Yeah, like desktop, laptop, and those things we can't be automate.
Mhm.
And like captcha, that those things, barcode and all those we can't automate using Selenium. We'll have to use some. We can't do with Selenium tools.
Mhm. Then barcode is there, or bitmap
Yeah,
comparison
barcode.
is there.
Yeah,
Those cannot be automated using
automated
Selenium
Selenium.
WebDriver. Okay. Have you used Selenium Grid?
But I know about it, like multiple, if like suppose if I'm having a 50 test cases, I want to execute all at a time. Suppose, so if we can divide our test cases in, suppose 5 machines are there, so 10 per machines, like 10 test cases we can divide it so that multiple test cases are running at a time, simultaneously running at all at times. So that we should not wait for all those executions. So it's like a time. It's like it's saving our time.
Right, it saves time. Okay. So in this Selenium Grid, what is the difference between these two things, max sessions and max instances?
No, I don't know about this.
Okay, no issues. So maxed instances is generally about the number of browser instances of the same version of the browser, okay, that can run on the remote machine. While max session says how many browsers independent of the type and version can run in parallel on the remote machine. So this is the very basic difference between max sessions and max instances. Okay. Now, how will you delete cookies in Selenium?
Yeah, we have a method called delete all cookies.
Right,
So
right. Right, so delete all cookies method is there, which would be deleting cookies in Selenium. Okay, now let's say there is a test and I have mixed by mistake thread.sleep and WebDriver waits also in particular Selenium script.
Yeah.
So what will happen eventually?
Eventually it will happen. Both are used for waiting for some, like it's so basically it will take more time to execute our test, because as we have provided both the thread or sleep and that wait, implicit wait or explicit wait that you do. So I think it will take longer time to execute our test scripts.
Right. So thread.sleep is an hard-coded wait, right?
Yeah.
So that will be taking the time. And if we are using WebDriver waits also along with the thread.sleep wait, then eventually WebDriver will hold the execution for the specified time, and then it will follow other wait also. So test execution time will be more if we mix both the weights eventually. Okay, so that is there. Okay, now how many test cases do you automate in a day?
In a day, I will try to automate, like suppose if my lead they assign us like suppose 10 test cases. So it depends on the complexity. If it's easy, then we will be doing 3 to 4 at a day, because simultaneously with automation we have to do manual work also.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is a and even I'm in a learning part, so for me it takes a time to do and all, because with learning I am learning many things. To automate one thing, I will be learning more and more, like googling everything and getting more information about this, how to debug, how to solve and all. So like basically I will be using two test cases per day, depends upon the complexity and all.
Okay, right. So this answer is good. It depends upon the complexity, and if it is easy, we can automate
Yeah,
more test
3
cases.
to
If it
4
is
we can
difficult,
do.
right? So it might be difficult to even automate one test case per day as well sometimes.
Yeah,
So
that's
what is your contribution to the automation framework? Let's say your leads or managers have created the automation framework. What is the contribution that you have made to that framework, which has helped the software testing team eventually reduce their efforts or finding out more defects? What actually it is?
actually my contribution to automation framework is actually in basically my project Selenium is not used that much. We will be using some other robot framework and all. So we are implementing Selenium framework in our projects. So basically we will be using it's not fully be created or done, because obviously framework will take time.
Mm-hmm.
So we are in a developing phase, so we are trying our best. Like I am doing like that, you told snapshots and all, I'm implementing, and with the screenshots and all those folders, and I'm trying to automate like data driven testing framework I'm implementing right now, like multiple set of data and all those I am doing to achieve and all. And I'm also trying to separate my locators with my test scripts. I'm trying to differentiate so that tomorrow if other testers come, so they don't find difficulties and all. So
Mm-hmm.
hard coding things, those are we are doing like we are in initial phase only. So I'm doing all those things, taking care of all those things.
Right. Okay. Now consider there is a situation where you have got 1,000 test cases in the test management tool. The release has to be done in 3 days. So what will be your test strategy? How will you execute?
My strategy will be, suppose in this case, I would say that first of all, I have to figure out like what all testings are like impacting more impacting to my features and all requirement. Also I will be first, I will go to those test cases and all. I will try to figure out and main thing, like I will be try to execute so that if so a small module, so that even though like a small module can give me I can achieve 100%, not 100%, but yeah, like where I can have more and more defects. So like so this way I can go and my approach will be there from where my requirement is more, and all which module I will test so that I get more defects, or which modules will be more important than the lower priority. And also this way I think my approach will be there
Right.
if I don't have a time.
Right. So if you don't have the time, so first priority will be given to the high priority or the business
Yeah.
level test cases. So if those are working fine, so you can tell that out of 1,000 test cases, even those 100 or 20, 200 are working fine. So you can give a green signal or your
Yes.
confidence level will
Yeah.
increase. So that is a good thing. Okay. Now, can you tell us the test scenarios for testing an e-commerce website?
E-commerce website. Okay. So first of all, we have to first scenario. My issue test case should be that whenever we are hitting the URL, should give me that page. E-commerce page should be there. Once we hit the URL, that page should be there. We should be able to, like if it's a UI testing we'll be doing, so that we should be able to see that how the user interface is there, like whether my buttons, images all are there or not, and everything is like clickable or not. And once it's clickable, then it's going it's directly to other page or not, whether that add to cart, those options are there or not. Once suppose if we do add to cart, if there are like plus sign and minus sign, by using, suppose if I'm able to select any I would say that if I'm able to select any objects or not. So if I'm able to select the object, whether I'm able to do the payment moment, if suppose if I'm selecting and if I'm doing add to cart or wish list, so those options should be there, and more thing payment and all those should be there. So this things apart from UI testings, performance, how the performance and all it's there. If suppose if at a time 10 people are doing opening that site. So,
Right. So performance testing is there, UI testing is there. Then you can go for the negative scenarios testing as well. Let's say you are
yeah,
trying to pay, but there is insufficient balance in your debit card or credit card,
yeah,
or your card has got expired. So those kind of negative scenarios you can add.
yes, we can.
Then you can add concurrent testing as well. Let's say you are trying to purchase or add the product into the cart. At the same time, same product, another user is also trying from different machine or different browser. So what is happening at that time with same username password? So all those scenarios are there. Right. Then in the login again, you have got forgot password is there, change password is there. Right. So those scenarios are there. Then if you go for forgot password, then you will be prompted with a
Error message
security
should be
question.
prompt.
Yeah.
Yes.
So those kind of scenarios you can add. Okay. Now, do you think it is essential to us for the software testers to write test cases for every feature, for every functionality in every project? Don't you think it is consuming a lot of time?
No, I think it's always better to write test cases and all because it's give a clear picture. If suppose if what today we learn, tomorrow we forget what we did, what we learned. So I think it's a better to have a document we should be where we storing our test cases and all. So that tomorrow, if suppose after 6 months, if we do and test our test cases, so that we can have that yeah test cases are there, we can easily go to the test those documents and we can execute those things, and it's good for our newcomers also. So
Mhm.
and this can give a coverage also, like what all things are done and what all things are pending, whether my requirements are filled or not, because so it's always better to have somewhere written so that we can have it store those things. Always it's better. It's okay, it's taking time consuming, but it's okay.
Right. So even though it takes a time, but it will help you to track your progress,
Yeah,
and you will have a proof that you have done testing on these
yeah,
level on these directions with this particular test scenarios. So it will
yeah,
also help you at the time of release or increasing your
yes.
confidence, or you have to showcase the test results to the higher management stakeholders. So this is how you will represent. Okay, how do you keep yourself updated with the latest testing tools and technologies coming in the market?
So first of all, right now, Selenium is all in it's a very boom in the market. So right now, I'm in a manual testing mode. So I'm now trying to update myself and to go towards automation. Not fully automation, but yeah, at least I want at least 30% automation. I want, because nowadays doing a manual, it's like a monotonous job, like same thing we are doing. And also, and obviously whenever we getting a few features, so obviously it's always approaches should be different, like how to write a test cases, identify the scenarios, those are also a big task. Not only like automation part, it's also a big task. So we should always learn like how to do and how we should approach is, how the thinking level should be, because as a tester I think we should be able to not only write the test cases, identify the scenarios and all those, but we should be able to give our input as well, like where the things are lagging, whether the things are complexity, or whether the requirement is we are getting it's like we should give our input as well. So those things we should be keep up to date, not only like limited to our like testing profile only. We should be able to do sit with our developers also to how the things they are doing and all those things. So
Mhm.
I think
Very right. And for this thing, rather than living up to the silos of testing only, you should be able to
yeah,
convince project managers, business analysts, if there are some
yes,
feature that are going to impact the user in one or the another manner, or let's say if migration feature is there, then we have to take care of the backward compatibility as well. So such things you should be able to highlight as a tester thing. Now, let's say when you get this question, how do you keep yourself updated? So it is more related to, you can also tell them that you are following some blogs on software testing, or you are following some people on the LinkedIn network, professional network, and you are discussing and brainstorming about the new things that are coming to you into the market. So because testing is our bread and butter, so if anything is coming up in the market, you should be able to know it. Let's say if not right away, so at least within 2 to 3 days that information should come to you. Yes, that this particular technology has got introduced, or this particular XPath locator tool has been recently launched. So such things you
Yes,
can
yes,
take.
definitely.
Okay. Okay, Supriya, it was nice talking to you. Right, we are done with the interview. Do you have any questions for us?
No, no.
Okay, okay. Thank you so
Only about
much.
my feedback and all.
Yes, yes, sure.